Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy, the Guido, and that's pronounced Guido, by the way. Some people ask that, and so I wanted to go ahead and clarify it. Hey, I'm really glad that you're here today. Thanks so much for jumping in the YouTube channel. Man, here's what I know. You could be anywhere doing anything, and the very fact that you've taken a couple minutes of your time to be here checking out this video means a lot to me. We actually have a really great video for you today because we're continuing to have conversations with people from inside of the Academy Roleplay server. Now, this video is so special because we actually have a conversation with the director of the Academy, IronAssault, who in Discord changed his name to Denny one time, and it kind of confused me a little bit. I figured it out though. Hey, in this conversation, we talked about what it was like to be the director, the challenges of that. We talked about kind of the future hopes and dreams and vision of what the community looks like. And he drops a pipe bomb announcement right here in this conversation. I know that you're going to love it. I can't wait for you to be able to watch it if you haven't been able to do that already. Before we get to that, though, if you are interested in GTA RP, or maybe you're interested in the Academy, man, I want to invite you to come hang out with us, be a part of our community. You can do that by hitting this link right here. It's also in the description of this video. Man, go check it out, find out what we're about, put in an application, and come be a part of the community. I know that you'll absolutely love it. And while you're here, I mean, you might as well go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this pipe bomb announcement that he's going to announce, or anything else that you might want to tell me. I'd just love to hear from you. All right, guys. Hey, let's jump into it. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, what's good?
You doing all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How's life?
It's good, man.
Are we past your
10,000?
bedtime?
Nah, not lately.
I got you. I got you. It's. I'll be honest, man. Last a couple weeks, man. It's been last week specifically. I've been going to bed early, so I'm feeling old tonight. I'm feeling alive. I'm feeling youthful tonight. We out here at 10:30.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild day. A lot of anticipation on days like this. $10,000 in an hour is crazy big.
Man,
You hit 1,000 followers.
thousands.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
just a crazy day.
No, it is a good day, and it's an exciting day, and I think I think it always is a testament of just when a community comes together, they have a heart for good, a heart to do good, the things that can happen, and so man, $10,000 in an hour giving away a PC. For the community, I think is dope, and there's a bigger picture of that, and I want us to talk. I want us to get into all of that. But I appreciate so much you jumping in and hanging out with us a little bit
Yeah, absolutely.
this evening. So hey, let's start here, man. Let's start the conversation. And most people, I would imagine, know you as Denny, or they know you as IronAssault. I'll be honest, when you switched your name to Denny in the Discord, it threw me off for a minute. I was like, wait, who? And so, but that's how they see you, and they see you announcements and all that kind of stuff. But man, I want you to introduce you yourself and just kind of tell us a little bit about you, and we'll start the conversation there.
Gotcha. So, born in Southwest Virginia, lived there pretty much my entire life. Um, Graduated high school and stayed. I grinded some kind of crappy jobs for a while after high school. Joined the military in 2007. Then I went to Iraq in 2009. Started talking to a girl named Michaela on Facebook,
Okay.
and somehow ended up coming up to West Virginia. Said I'd never live up here, and we ended up getting married. Went back to Virginia for a while. Come back to West Virginia, this is where her family's from, obviously. Deployed again. Come back. Met Tony, and this is kind of how we got where we are.
Awesome, man. Very cool. Very cool. And so when we had Michaela on, and most people that may or may not know this, Lady Assault. You guys are married.
Hmm.
You guys have several. You have a large family. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. We've got three little girls and a boy that's not so little, and then we've got Atlas, which is a fairly young Doberman.
nice. Okay. And I bet the Doberman is a handful as well. It keeps you busy.
Yeah, he's still a puppy, so he's a little wild, but he's not too bad.
Awesome, man. Very cool. I love that. All right. Um, so tell me about like if you get some free time, man. What are you doing? How are you spending your time? What are you getting into? What is that? What does that look like for you if you get some free time?
So, honestly, man, I don't really have a ton of free time. I am a security analyst I basically work for the West Virginia National Guard. It gets kind of complicated, but I travel a lot, so I'm gone a lot of the time. And then when I am home, I'm obviously working or working on for the last year TARP stuff or grinding stuff out with Tony. So me and Michaela get to go out occasionally. But as far as free time, I play some video games occasionally. But honestly, man, the community takes up most of my time.
Yeah. Now, are you a homebody or are you a I want to go out and chill? Like where do you kind of how do you find yourself in that?
I'm definitely, I'd say I'm more of a homebody just because I'm always gone.
Yeah,
If Michaela loves to go out and do stuff, but I think she sees it sometimes. I just want to be home. So
I got you. I am a so my wife is a homebody, 100%. She loves to stay home, and I think over the years that we've been married, I have kind of just given in, and I'm just like I like to be
yeah,
home. I like to just chill, and so it has kind of become my thing. Maybe it's because I'm old. I don't know exactly, but
it's just easier that way, man. Do what she wants.
yeah, that there's that too. That's absolutely true as well. All right, so you are so I know you said you play some games. What kind of games are you into, man? What do you like to play?
So I used to be pretty heavy in the Call of Duty. They've disappointed me the last couple years.
Yeah.
So I've been playing some Destiny. And honestly, I don't have time for much else. So Destiny's it's a huge game and takes a lot of time. So if I am playing some, that's typically what I play. So, but started playing the Academy recently, and I'm playing that pretty much all the time now. So
Okay. All right. Um very good, man. I love that. All right. So I want to play a game. I want to play a game with you. And I kind of told you about this when we were getting ready, getting everything set up for our conversation. And what I want to do is I'm going to ask you some questions, but I want to put a little bit of a twist on it. So normally we do rapid fire questions, and we kind of get people to answer. But I thought that since Lady A, Michaela is a part of our community as well. You guys are married. I thought it would be fun to get her to try to match what she thinks you would say.
yeah, pressure's on now.
So I have the questions and I have her answers, and we'll see how you answer, and she's gonna see, and we'll see how well she answered on your behalf. All right,
Yeah,
you ready for this?
I guess we'll see.
All right, just call it out right now. How many do you think she got right? Like just like if you're guessing, I know you don't know the questions, but how many do you think she got right out of 10? It is 10 questions.
I would honestly, Michaela knows me so well. I would be surprised if she missed more than a couple.
Okay. All right. Okay. You ready? You ready to jump into it? You excited?
I'm ready. I'm
You
ready.
nervous?
I I'm more worried that I'm going to get my own answers wrong.
I got you. No, I feel that, man. I totally feel that. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, we'll start off really easy. This is a really easy softball pitch question.
All right.
What's your favorite color?
So white or red? White is technically not a color, so It's either one of those.
Okay. All right. She nailed this one. Lady Assault got this one. She said white, but sometimes red and olive.
Yeah, olive's fair. That's obviously
Okay. So
yeah.
so she got that one. And what is it about red? What do you like about red?
It's loud. I used to the last few years I kind of stayed away from like loud colors and I wear red shoes now. Like
Yep.
everything is red if it can be red. I just like how loud it is. It draws attention.
I noticed that on Instagram the other day that you were rocking some red shoes, and I've got a pair of red shoes, and I just hadn't worn them since. But once I do, I'm gonna send a picture of them to you.
Got
Um,
to, man. Red shoes is where it's at.
yeah, I may have to wear them tomorrow, and I'll just shoot them over and be like, "Yo, check out my kicks today, bro. Just representing.
Got to.
Got
Yep.
the Iron Assault look going on." All right, here we go. Next question. Um, and I already kind of asked this, but it is part of the 10, so I'll ask it. I'll go ahead and ask it. All right. So if you get to choose, what is it that you would want to do on a chill out day? So you got some time where you can just chill. There's no pressure, there's no expectations. What is it that you are wanting to do on that day?
We're probably me and Michaela are honestly gonna sit down. We have nothing to do, no responsibilities. We're gonna sit down. I'll probably play video games. She'll sit over here and play video games. We'll hang out and then watch a movie or something. That's all I need.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good day. I love that. What's the last thing you binge watched? Can you
We
think of
just
anything?
watched Loki.
Okay. Yeah,
We
that's a good
I
one.
mean I say binge watch, but with kids running around, it still takes a while. But we're dedicated to watching something, and Loki was what we just recently watched.
Okay, dope. I like it. Have you watched Lincoln Lawyer? Have y'all watched Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix?
I haven't watched the new
The
series, but
series, not the movie.
the movie was epic.
Yes,
I like to give shows like see if they'll do like a season 2 or something before I
I got you.
dedicate to it because I
I'm
get
with you.
disappointed, man. If I like a show and they're like, we're canceling it because not enough people watch it, I get mad.
No, I get that. I've had that happen several times, so I get
Yeah.
that. You and Michaela are right on. She said, "Watch TV with Michaela or play some games."
Yeah.
So you guys are 2 for 2. You're doing well. You called it. All right, here we go. Number three. Number three. All right. Your favorite. And I'm not sure I'm going to ask this question right, but your favorite day at the gym. Like what are you focusing on that like you're pumped up. Like you're like I'm ready to get into it on this day.
Like
What
it's leg day.
leg day?
Leg day,
Leg.
100%. It's the
Okay.
hardest day. You got to come in prepared.
All right. That's what she said. Legs for sure. 100%.
100%.
She knew.
She
She
knows she
knew.
likes leg day too now. So,
Okay. All right. So y'all both go in together. Y'all are both pumped up about it.
yep. What is going on?
I lost you. There we
There
go.
we go.
All right, here we go. All right, next question. What's the highest thing on your bucket list?
Man, highest thing on my honestly, I don't it's gonna be a hard question to answer because I don't have a bucket list.
Okay.
I don't it's not something I ever think about, but let's see. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I want to go see, but if it's not like visiting like a certain place, I have no idea what it would be.
Okay. Michaela said that you would say, I don't do bucket lists.
Yeah,
And
I
you
just
nailed it.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do bucket lists.
Okay. All right. Well, the next question is you almost answered the next question, and that is a place that you wanted to travel to, but you haven't had a chance to do that yet.
I mean, it's as far as like a bigger place. I want to go to Hawaii, which me and Michaela are probably going to Hawaii in like February. So,
Nice.
um, and I'd love to go back to Alaska. Those are the only two places or Japan. Those are the only three places I care about. Or Rome.
Okay.
Actually, that's a lot. 4 places. I love traveling. So those 4 places, Rome is actually probably my number one. See the Colosseum.
Yeah.
or Japan for sure.
Awesome. Michaela said Rome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got to see the Coliseum, man. That's where physicality in the world really started.
Yeah. Very cool. I like it. All right, here we go. Best vacation that you ever took.
Going with her to Alaska. If it was a work trip, but 100%, it's best vacation I've ever had.
Nice. That's what she said. She said either Buffalo, New York, or maybe Alaska.
But Buffalo was big too. We had a really good time considering that it wasn't like um, I don't know how to put it. It's just like New York. I can drive to New York if I want to and
Sure.
hang out. Alaska was a kind of a big deal. And the way that place looks is just probably unmatched.
Okay.
So
All right. Very cool, man. All right. You can only choose one genre of music. What is
rock,
it?
100% rock.
Okay. All right. That's what she said. Rock, preferably new metal.
Yeah, so it's got a ton of different names. New metal or I call it pop metal because it's like metal, but the people can actually sing
Okay.
more, closer to like pop music. So
All right. All right. All right. Here we go. What superhero do you most want to be?
I think if you say anything other than Superman, you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's what Michaela said. Superman. That's what she said. Now she did
He's
put a
literally
question mark.
designed to be perfect
Yeah.
in every way, morality, his powers, everything about him. He's perfect. So he's got to be the blueprint.
Okay. All right. All right. Two more, really quick. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning, 100%. I'm not a night person.
Okay. Same. I'm like that, and that's what Michaela said. She said you would say morning person. And then last one, what's your favorite holiday?
I hate holidays, so I that's probably what she said. But if I had to pick, it's going to be Christmas because that's what my kids like.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she said hates holidays, but maybe Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's big too. I know I used to not be big on Thanksgiving, but like last year we did our first Friendsgiving, which was kind of a big deal. But I hate holidays. I hate how amped up people get about it and how stressed it makes everybody. So
Yeah, awesome, man. I love that. Very cool. All right. So let's talk about the community. Let's get into that conversation a little bit, and um, let's just kind of start with. Oh, and yeah, I just saw Lady Assault's comment. She said soulmates. You guys nailed it. I mean, she was right on, right in tune. So that's pretty awesome. I thought.
yeah, she's I told you she knows me better than anybody ever has. So
Yeah, no, she did good. So well done, Lady Assault. You get 100 on that one. Congratulations. All right. So into our conversation about the community. Um, you've been there since the beginning, since the kind of where this whole thing started. Kind of talk about now when we had Officer Messer on, he talked about the beginning from his side of it. Let's start with you. I mean, from your perspective, what did that look like? How did this all kind of become what it is now? Where it hadn't always been like that. So where did it start from your perspective?
so I actually met Tony through a friend that I work with. I got a job up in Charleston, pretty close to Tony. She was telling me that she had a friend that she worked with on the police department that played video games and what he kind of wanted to do. He hadn't really started to do it yet. We got to playing Call of Duty together, and and he was like, "Hey man, when you're at work, because I was driving 2 hours to work and hadn't moved yet or anything, so I was basically like sleeping at the armory, had evenings and nights wide open. He's like, "Hey man, when you're just kind of like laying around, come ride with me. And we'll talk." So I went and rode with him one night. He kind of like bounced some ideas off of me. I know that in his interview, he kind of gave me credit for coming up with the bicycle thing and maybe the ice cream thing. The way I remember it is Um, I guess this camera's gonna keep
I
kicking on
lost
and
you.
off.
I lost you.
Uh, let's see if it's gonna come back. All right. So, um, he uh, he bounced some ideas off of me, and the reason me and Tony work so well together, we just like 100% honest of what we want to do. Um, we kept playing Call of Duty, and he come to me one day and he said, he's like, "Hey man, I'm looking into GTA RP."
Uh-oh. I lost him. I lost him, chat. Let's see if we can get him to come back here. Sorry about that. See if we can get him to come back. There he is.
All right, maybe we're good now.
All right.
Sometimes their stuff acts wild. Um, so he basically said, "Hey, I want to do this RP stuff," and it was kind of a wild conversation because I didn't know anything about RP
Yeah.
at the time at all. So he's like, he kind of explained what it was, and then he was like, "I want to join this community. Look at this application." So he shows me this application, and he's talking me through how like you have to join, and then you have to apply to be a police officer, and you have to go through an actual interview and all this stuff. And I was like, "Bro, this is wild. Like it's crazy that people do this."
Yeah.
They wanted him to. I filled out the application for it, and I was like, "Bro, this is nuts. I don't even know. It would be crazy to step into this." He's like, "Bro, it's the future." Um, he got into the community. I forget what the name of it was. He tried to stream, and they were like, "No, we don't want you to stream yet. It'll be like a month." It was kind of wild, the stuff they wanted him to do, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think about starting our own server?" And I was like, "Let's do it. You know, if that's what you want to do, I don't know anything about it. We obviously just, you know, figured some of this RP stuff out. Like, let's do it if that's what you want to do." And man, we just started reaching out to people. I honestly tried to stay kind of out of the server side of stuff for a while, but that's where he needed me, so um, that's how we got started, man. It was really about people not basically letting him stream, even though he had a pretty substantial following, and we were like, "Hey, we can't wait on these guys to let us, spread what we're trying to do." So we put it in the community's hands and started doing it ourselves.
Awesome, man. Um, so you guys are working together. Y'all are, you're creating essentially you're creating something from nothing. I mean,
Absolutely. I had
you're
no idea. I'd never even played GTA before. To be honest, 100%, I despised GTA. I knew the platform was going to be hard to mess with. And when I say I despise GTA, if you go back to the last 15 years and you hear about uh, negativity as it relates to games, the conversation starts with GTA.
yeah,
In the news, anywhere, I didn't like the idea of running around killing cops for sport.
right.
I've always just kind of like thought that platform was not desirable to me. And then when we decided we were going to use that platform to really do the exact opposite, I knew it was going to be a challenge, but that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah. So you're trying to figure this out. So you go from knowing nothing to where we are today, and what we all know as the community right now. Um, how does that? How do you kind of talk through what that growth process has been like for you, and walking through the different stages and the different steps that have led to where we are right now?
Oh man, it's there's so much to learn. There's so many different aspects. Growing the team, learning a little bit of dev stuff, learning a little bit of how moderation should work in a community. Because not only did I didn't really know anything about Discord, so I learned Discord pretty much from scratch.
Yeah.
Uh, didn't know anything about GTA. Didn't even know what FiveM was when we started. Um, I just had no base knowledge at all. So it really started with putting the right people around us, and it's taken a really, really long time to get where we are now. There's been tons of people kind of come and go. I've learned something from everybody, but it's been a wild. It's really been a roller coaster, man. Just huge ups, huge downs. Um, but I've learned so much um, that I can translate to other stuff. Um, and I've grown as a person because of the challenges that the server and the community has placed in front of me. So
Sure, absolutely. So you are, you're putting these things in place. The other thing that I think is really interesting, and we you and even when Officer Messer was on and other people, when you're in the middle of something, it seems like it's a really long time, but in reality, the server is about a little over a year old. Am I correct in that?
yeah, it's barely over a year old, and you're right. It seems like it has been a really long time, but it's mostly because, man, it's there's been periods of time where it's been so hard. Um, and those time periods take so much work that it seems like it drags on, but it really hasn't been that long, and we're, I think, highly successful for, if you compare us against people who have been doing this for 5 years, which a
Yeah.
lot of these communities have. uh, our growth rate, I don't think you really see anywhere else, and I think we've been incredibly successful. So
Um, so you are the director of TARP, and I think sometimes people kind of wonder. All right, so you got Officer Messer, and he's the face, and he's the owner, and then you are the director. Can you kind of talk about like what your role is in the community and what it is that you're doing overall? And in addition to that, I think this is just an important thing for us to touch on is just kind of the amount of time that you put into what it is that you're doing.
So the server, as far as the amount of time, the server has at points over the last year literally consumed me 100%. From the moment that I wake up um, to the moment that I go to sleep, sometimes is I wake up before I even get out of bed. I'm typically going through tickets, seeing if there's any major issues for me to kind of address or look at throughout the day. And man, I'm always playing the long game. So I'm thinking about things that are going to affect the server a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and kind of creating that roadmap, and then helping everybody under me kind of reach whatever goals that we set. So it's the further you go down, the more immediate the task is. So I'm looking at I'm already looking at doing Santa's handlebars, how we're gonna, you know, make that work in the server and whatnot. So I'm months ahead. And then, like I said, as you kind of go down, it's people looking at the more immediate future. So uh all consuming at times. It's
Yeah.
been pretty tough.
Okay. So your when it comes to your specific role, how would you, if you had to put that in a job description, what would you say? Like how would you define what your specific role is?
So Tony pretty much gives me a vision, and then I create the uh solution
Okay.
there. So he gives me the vision, I supply the product. So if he's like, hey, this is if he were to come to me today and be like, 3 months from now, I want this to be 100% about content creation. I want 50 new content creators. and we are going to be a content creation driven server.
Okay.
I would then figure out how to accomplish that. And that's basically it. He provides the vision, and I just figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great definition. And then whatever the pieces are that have to be come together, whatever the conversations are that have to come together, whatever planning that has to come together for that is all then put into place so that those things ultimately can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so so as the director, just like with anything, there's always there's always something to deal with. Speaking of conversations, speaking of planning, there's always something that's come up. And uh, as the director, the other thing that happens is oftentimes all of the blame of anything that happens falls on you.
Absolutely.
And so when there is cries of outrage of things that have happened in the community, oftentimes the word on the street is it's because of Denny, it's because of Iron Assault. Uh, Oftentimes it falls back to you. And that's just part of it. It is part of the territory.
It is, man. It's rough. It was I would say it was probably the toughest challenge over the last year is realizing that doesn't matter what you say or do, people are going to be upset. It doesn't matter if you have anything to do with the decision, it's yours to own. And, not losing sleep over it has been the first 6 months was wild because, you're I was about people pleasing, trying to figure out the solution that was best for everybody. And after a while, you just learn that it doesn't. You can put all the effort into it that you want. You're absolutely not going to achieve what you want in satisfying everybody.
Yeah.
So eventually, you start kind of like becoming callous to certain attitudes and whatnot. And after a while, man, I kind of just got over it. So
Okay. Now, there's been over the last, so I've been a part of the community since October. Um, Actively kind of watching. I've been involved in the community since December of last year. And since that time, there have been various moments, there have been various times where things have come up and everybody is in an uproar and all the conversations are in a, you know, everybody, the situation is heightened. We'll say it that way.
yeah,
As far as like
get the
morale
pitchforks
and
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's morale and conversations and everything's kind of heightened. So, so let me ask this, and I'm sure that there's been decisions that you've made that you've thought this is not going to hit really well. We need to brace ourselves. Has
Yep.
there been any decisions that you and the team uh, you talk about, you discuss, you make this decision, you present it, and then there's outrage and there's people that are upset. Has there been any of those things that have happened, and you're like, I never expected people to respond like that? Has there been anything like that?
Honestly, people, if I'm good at anything, it's people. So I pretty much know the reactions that I'm gonna get
Okay,
before, and so it really doesn't affect. If I believe something, if I know it to be true, I'll stand my ground, even if it's just me standing it. So, man, there's been some that were a little crazier than I thought they were gonna get, and they drug on for a long time. But honestly, I've pretty much expected the uproar pretty much every time that it's happened. So
okay. Has there been all right? So the other side of that, has there been any decisions where you really were like, all right, I'm gonna brace myself. This ain't gonna go real well, and then it just flew right by. Has there been anything like that?
nah, because I mean, you put out feelers, and kind of like the admin team is obviously great to bounce ideas off of, and so the admin team they've given me pushback several times and on some things, and sometimes it goes their way, sometimes it doesn't. So it's man, I think I've pretty much expected um, every response I've ever gotten.
Okay. All right. It's not easy, and I think for the amount of time and the amount of heat that that comes with the role that you play in the community, it's not an easy one. And so, man, I appreciate the work and the effort, and one of the
And
things that I've seen through doing the conversations, these interviews and these conversations, is I've had an opportunity to really get a glimpse behind the curtain of the time and the effort that you and the other admins put into it. And man, I appreciate it. And I know it's not easy, but I appreciate what you guys do.
thanks.
Um, so, all right, another thing I wanted to kind of mention and talk about is you mentioned this earlier. You recently have just started getting into to playing the game. Like
Yep.
you've recently started getting into playing the game, and for a long time, you were like, "Hey, I don't even play this game." Like like I'm not an active part of playing the game. You were leaving the community, but now you are playing the game. And so I just thought it would be a good, interesting conversation to have for you specifically. Is there anything that you've seen since you've started playing it, or has your perspective about the gameplay part of what the community is, has anything changed since you started playing versus when you weren't playing?
Absolutely. So I still think me not playing for as long as I did was absolutely the right move. It allowed me to stay impartial, to kind of to to hear all the perspectives, gather the info, and then make very impartial decisions. But after the team kind of got built up, my time freed up a little bit because I wasn't going as hands on with stuff. Um, I started to play a little bit, and part of the reason I hadn't played is because as soon as you get in, and probably all the admins can speak to this. As soon as you get in, you're kind of under a microscope.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what you do. If you make the slightest little mistake, somebody's gonna call you out on it. So I kind of wanted to avoid that, but 100% my perspective is more narrowly focused now. Like before, I was looking at big picture stuff. Now I'm just like, okay, what is happening here? I'm seeing this exact problem now. And then I go kind of look and see why we're having smaller problems. So I'm like fine tuning smaller things now. Whereas before, I was looking at big picture, sweeping issues. So my focus has been different the last 2 months. So that's why we've been fine tuning RP. We've been having various discussions that we weren't really having before at my level.
Okay. All right. So so you're in the game and you are you're running around and you're playing. Do you worry about people knowing, and maybe you just answered this a second ago, but do you worry about people finding out that who you are in the game?
I don't so much worry about it. I guess I think about how they. So the people that do know me definitely, I think, act different because it's me.
Okay.
So I don't think that I normally get the exact same role play experience as everybody else.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't know me by voice. So I would say 60-70% of people don't know who I am.
Sure.
So it's not like I'm never getting that RP experience ever. But a lot of people do, and they want to hang out, and I want to hang out, but it's like I'm a gang leader. So like you got people from other gangs that are like trying to hang out and be friendly. It's like, oh man, I really just want to be a gangster right now and do gangster stuff, but I got to
Yeah.
be nice and cordial at the same time. So it's a kind of a weird balance to figure out.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it is. What's one of the hardest things since you started playing the game? What's been one of the hardest things you've had to figure out, like game mechanic wise? Because the game is not easy. Like people ask
Yeah,
me all
it's
the
not.
time, is it
Absolutely.
easy? Is it easy? Heck no, it's not easy. It's a lot.
It might sound wild, but it's not the mechanics. It's more worried about the rules. And
Yeah,
you're like, oh, you're the director. You got to know all the rules. Rules on paper are not the same as rules in the server as
sure.
you're actively playing because context of the situation matters and it's role play. So the crazy thing about role play is it's very dynamic
Yeah.
and fluid. And
Mm-hmm.
so again, rules are fine on paper, but they don't fit every situation and whatnot. So you're like, man, can I do this right now? It's specifically me, because if I mess up, you know, well, Denny did this. And it's like, you know, okay. So every scene has to be thought out as I'm doing it. And so the mechanics aren't too bad because there's always somebody that can be like, all right, open your menu with tab or whatever. But just kind of figuring out how to apply what I've built, which is
Yeah.
weird. So I'm all the things that I've read and put into place, then I have to go put them into practice, and it's been pretty wild.
Yeah, I would imagine, because I think the word that you use there that's really good is fluid, because there's fluid situations. There's right and there's
Absolutely,
wrong. There's things that are very definitive, but then there are things that are very very loose as well in certain contexts and certain situations.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so let's change the conversation, because I think, um, for the community, and I said this earlier. Somebody in the chat asked me. They said, "What is TARP?" And I just kind of briefly just said, it's a community of good around bridging the gap, um, and the entryway for the community for most people is through this idea of playing Grand Theft Auto in a FiveM server. That is the entryway to the community. And then,
Absolutely.
in the interviews, we talk a lot about the community and relationships that are formed, but it goes really farther beyond that. And I think what we saw today, um, in Officer Messer's stream, and the money that was raised for the mission and the project that was at hand, is a really big look into ultimately what this is about. And he actually said this. He actually talked about this tonight. He talked about it on the interview we had, when he came on. He talked about it tonight. Is TARP, the Academy, is much more than a game. It's much more than that. Can you kind of lean in to that part of it? So we know the game side, we know the relationship side, but when we hear Officer Messer say it's more than that, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that has kind of been my thing. It come up part of the learning process. So didn't know 5M, didn't know Grand Theft Auto. Part of that initial learning was the video game, right? So that's where my focus was probably the first 4 months, easy. And at some point, I realized I was making a mistake. And me and Tony kind of sat down and talked about it one day. And I was like, man, I think I've messed up. Like, we've been building a video game for the last few months, and that's not what we should be building. We should be building a community, and the the game, the server is the foundation in which that community is built. But we were worried about what scripts were going in, and very developmentally heavy stuff at the time. And like I said, I really just kind of woke up one day and was like, man, I'm doing this wrong. And from that point forward, my kind of thing has been, we are not building a video game. We're building a community. And if you were to look in the top of the admin chat, it is literally it's pinned at the top. We are not building a game. We're building a community.
Yeah.
So that I completely changed my focus. We started looking at toxicity, uh, the kind of customer service aspect, of the community and how moderation was being handled. We started looking at role play. It just was like a complete 180 from my strategy. So, and TARP is I think truly unique, and I'm not saying that. I don't say anything I don't believe. I think we have the most unique community because we took a very challenging platform. We have limited the negative aspects of that platform to, I think, the best of our ability, and we have turned it into something that allows people to find support for their beliefs, for their for their personal issues. If you come into Gen Chat and you're having a bad day, the community, you can use them as a crutch. I've done it. If you need, if you, I believe that if you were to lose your job and you were to go into the community and be like, hey man, lost my job today, you could find out somebody that lived near you, somebody would help you find a job. It's just an incredible place for support. And it's very little of that has anything to do with logging into the server.
Right.
Really almost nothing to do with logging into the server.
Yeah. And I think that is an interesting part of it because we talked about outrage and we talked about people being upset and controversies. All of those things happen around the Grand Theft Auto part of the community
A
when
lot of it.
in reality, if you look at the big picture of what the community is, that's not even the focus. Like we want to have fun and it's an enjoyable part of it. It's a fun part of it, but it really genuinely is an entryway into what the community is.
Yeah, it's I love getting in and doing stuff, but that's not what even I come around for. So you know the the game is cool. If you're here for the game as kind of like a side thing, then I think that's kind of what it's about. If you're in and you want like we get compared to people like No Pixel all the time. Somebody
Sure.
that's has unlimited funding and obviously many years of experience. We get compared to people like that all the time. But people that go to communities like that, people that leave, they always come back.
Yeah.
I would say 75% easy of anybody that leaves comes back and they're like, "Hey, I missed the community. I missed my friends because we do not." There's just so many things like toxicity that is really not present in our community that is in other places.
No, I agree. And you know, when I had Officer Messer on, I was thinking about the conversation, and it was 2 days after my conversation I had with him. It hit me, and I thought, "You big dummy, why did you not ask this question?" And so I saved it because I knew that you and I would be talking at some point. And so I saved this question for you because I think it's good to dream about what the future is and what could be. So you talked about No Pixel and they've got unlimited amount of money. So will you just dream with me? Will you cast vision and let's just pretend that the community has unlimited amounts of resources. We literally can do whatever it is that we want to do. Money is not a barrier for us. The only barrier is what we can think and what we can dream. What is the community capable of? What can the community accomplish if that was true?
Well, so I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't have to do much dreaming. We're pretty much already there. So Tony, if he didn't make it clear in his stream today, we got our federal nonprofit status Thursday.
I love it.
So we are a legit federally recognized nonprofit. So that opens up tons of doors for us. That's the server will always be the foundation. Tony will always be dedicated to the server. I will always be dedicated to the server. But it is what we do is huge. Uh, $10,000 in an
It's
hour
amazing.
is absolutely huge. But when we can go out and get grants, when we can get companies to support us, I fully suspect that Tony is going to be working with Ghost by the end of this coming week. And there will come a time, I think sooner rather than later, where all the things that we've been putting together are going to start feed off of one another, and we will have unlimited sources of funding to do, you know, PC giveaways every month. It'll be wild to see where we are just in by January, because um, a lot of my focus has been shifted toward that kind of outside of the server uh, area of focus.
Yeah.
So it's we don't have to dream too awful hard, because with his following and the work that we've been putting in, and with the team in the server now, it's in no time we're going to be where people are like, where are we going to be in 3 or 4 years? We're going to be there way sooner than anybody ever anticipated. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's exciting to think about. You see things like tonight happen, and the amount of money that was raised, the amount of energy, the amount of support. Man, it's exciting. And I think, and I agree. I think to just see where we'll be just in a few short months is very exciting. And I'm looking forward to it. And that kind of brings me to something you actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got some information in the interview that I wanna share," and so you actually have an announcement that you wanna give to the community, and so I'm gonna give you the floor, man. It's yours, and it's your announcement to make.
yeah, thanks, man. So I'm sure a lot of people are maybe even going to be happy about it. But so uh, I've been grinding out the server. I've learned a ton. I've grown as a person because of the community. I definitely try to, if everybody noticed, we put out the values of the server last week, and I have literally tried to live by that for the last year.
Yeah,
Trying to be compassionate, not just in the server. Like I'm walking around. I don't really take a lot of crap off of people, but I found myself in situations where somebody's had a bad day, and I can tell that they're having a bad day, and I'm like, man, where's the compassion that I'm always talking about? So I've grown, and we've come to a point where I've learned, I think, not as much as I can learn, but the community would benefit from somebody else kind of taking over, giving the community a fresh set of eyes. And so I come into the interview as the director of TARP, but I'm leaving. I am moving up into the owner role with Tony, and Ryan is actually taken over as the director. He's been doing it for a week now. Nobody noticed any difference, because Ryan is 100% probably more capable than me. He has understanding in certain areas that I will never have. He's crazy when it comes to how fast he picks up everything.
yeah,
He knows development like I'll never know. And he from the second that he come onto the team, he has went above and beyond anything that's ever been expected of him, and he truly cares about the community. It's going to allow me to kind of step into that outside of the server area that I need to focus on, because me and me and Tony have big dreams. We want to give out PCs. We want to do an event at minimum every quarter. Right now, we got two big events. We want to go to at least four, but um, I mean, we want to do this full time. In goal, we are literally just helping all the time, and I can't build the things that I need to build while the server is literally taking all of my free time. So Ryan is stepping into that role. He he he's gonna have a little bit of a learning curve, but he's in a much better position than when I started. So 100% have faith in Ryan. He's 100% what the community needs. So congratulations to him. He's 100% deserves it. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the end of me as the director. It's been fun. I love the community. I love what it's done for me. But it's time to move on. So
Wow, that is big. That's a big, huge announcement, bro.
it is.
And so that is effective immediately.
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's really me and Ryan have we've been kind of working up to it for the last at least month and a half, probably 2 months, just because this transition was probably needed a little bit sooner. But it's my baby, even though it's been super frustrating at times.
Sure.
It's still something that I've poured so much time into that it was honestly kind of hard to let go. But when Ryan came along and just showed the drive to do it, it's like now I feel good about it. Now's the time, um, and so he he's 100% capable. I feel super good about it. And like I said, he has really been the director the last week. Like the admin team has worked under him. There's been zero issues. So we're just making it official tonight.
Well, that's very cool, man. Well, congratulations to Ryan, and
Absolutely.
then that's a big transition for him and a big jump for him, and so excited for him to be able to take the reins and move forward on that side of it. But the other side is equally exciting because now focus will be given to the other part of what the community is and what it's about, and I may be a little biased. I can't think of anyone better to lead that charge. And so, man, I'm excited about what when you're able to truly get some focus and attention to that and to the outreach projects and the community things and all of those kind of things. The difference and the ground that the community will really be able to make. And so I'm looking forward to being able to see that.
Absolutely. And to be honest, the last week I was like, man, I'll get out of the server. I'll have a little bit more free time, but it's just, there's always something to do. So I'm realizing my workload might have actually increased rather than decreased.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, we're writing, I'm sitting at work trying to work and I'm writing news releases, researching grant writing, where to get grants. It's just, I'm basically square one again. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Sure.
So it's another skill set that I'll develop. But it for sure is it's going to be another kind of crazy ride. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it'll be exciting and it'll be worth it, and
absolutely.
that'll be great. Um, well, man, that's huge news. That's a big announcement, and stepping stepping out of that role into this other role. Let me kind of we'll kind of get ready to start closing down our conversation a little bit here, but I did want to ask this. So you obviously have been a part of this community for a long, long time, and I think the insights and the stories that you have are could be different. It could be other there could be other sides to the to your memories and your thoughts. But can you just kind of like over the last year or so that you've been doing this, what are some of the most memorable moments for you? What are the things that you kind of remember the most about the community, maybe about gameplay, something that you've seen, something like that? Can you think of anything like that?
Well, honestly, I stayed so far out of the community as far as the gameplay for so long. Um, I honestly, there's nothing really that stands out. What stands out to me is like the feeling of going and actually physically doing this stuff with Tony, going into when we're giving out ice cream the last couple years, just seeing the dynamic of these um, kids who you can tell don't have like a very positive perception of what a police officer is, and kind of seeing how that absolutely changes just in the couple minutes that Tony and other police officers that are riding with us, how that perception changes, not only just with the kids, but even the parents who are very sometimes resistant to uh, kind of being involved at all.
Sure.
Just seeing how that dynamic changes, how giving out these bikes to kids who very obviously, wouldn't have much else, if anything, without the community coming together and providing it for them. That's the stuff that stands out to me. Sitting at the armory or Tony's house the last couple of years, just putting those bikes together, kind of because like I said, it gets tough, man.
Yeah.
It's absolutely me and Tony have went through times where we're like, man, this is super challenging. Like, what are we gonna do? And then we get to putting the bikes together,
Yeah.
and it's like, this is what it was for.
Sure.
So it's just those things that stand out. It's
Yeah.
it's not for me. It's not anything in the game. I've had a bunch of like wild stuff since I've been playing. I think the funniest thing that to happen to me while playing was I streamed one night. I let Ricky drive my car, which is it's kind of the test for the one for one cars. It's super fast. It's an Aston Martin. I let him drive it. He got in it, and I switched screens for it couldn't have been 15 seconds. And I come back and we were pulled over. And I'm like, bro, what? Like we didn't even get off the off ramp all the way. What happened? He's like, bro, I messed up. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But that's definitely the funniest thing in the server. But most of my stuff is going to be outside the server,
Yeah.
conversations and events. So yeah, 100% Ricky though,
Oh
being
yeah.
a troublemaker.
It always comes down to Ricky. Absolutely.
It's Ricky, man. It's
No, 100%.
he's a troublemaker.
He is a troublemaker. All right, I got a couple of questions for you. People have been putting in some questions. Hey, if you have questions for Denny, go ahead and put them into the chat. I've got a couple now. We'll jump into. First one is this. Um, it doesn't say who it's from, but it asks, "Why do you hate Star Wars so much?"
Listen, it's not that I hate Star Wars. It's just the most overrated. Absolutely. Listen, the most overrated series of movies to ever be made.
Yeah,
And so the new ones are great. I love the new ones.
I
But
do too.
what's wild about kind of the people that love Star Wars, this is what you're going to get every time. You got to watch Star Wars. It's so great. Now the first 3, they're real tough, but if you can make it through those, then the rest are great. And to be honest, the second 3 aren't that great.
Thank you.
So it's just like, is it really that great if you have to start off the conversation like, the first 3 kind of suck, but just stick through it and it's the greatest series ever.
Yeah. No, I listen. I love Star Wars. If you go chronologically, episodes 1, 2, and 3 are the worst.
Yeah.
I am. That's just IMO. Um, and I know that there are a lot of haters on the most recent 3, but I like
I
those.
love them. They're
Yeah, I thought they
good.
were great.
They're good. There's absolutely no story in the first 3. In episodes 1, 2, and 3, I don't know who my dad is. My dad's a bad guy. Surprise. That's the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And so the newest three are pretty like they're pretty legit, but for some reason the first and like I said, they'll say, they're really hard to watch, but in the same breath, they're like, a great story though. Like, come
Yeah.
on,
No,
it's not
I'm
a
with
good
you.
story.
And let's just be honest. Amidala is not falling for Anakin. I'm just in no planet,
I
no
mean,
world. That's
I
not
would
happening.
say not. I would say not, but what do I know?
All right. All right. So, uh, so we got that settled. Here's another question, also anonymous. Who is your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
If I have to pick Michelangelo, but if I
Because he
have
likes,
to,
because he has the nunchucks.
well, he's he's the jokester, and
Yeah,
so you know I'm a jokester, so it just makes sense. But they're all super important. You can't take one away. So
I'm with you. Okay. All right. Um, all right. So this is a little biased. I'm going to change this question a little bit. Other than any character that Lady Assault plays inside of the city, who would be one of your favorite characters in the city to watch or interact with?
so what's his name? Ramsbottom.
Yeah,
Listen, Hammer. That character is perfect.
I love it.
Like I love the way he gives people crap, and he's so confident, but he's kind of like he's kind of like a dummy at the same time.
Yeah,
Uh, I love that dynamic. I think that dynamic is like the what is funny about that's kind of complex because he's 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 confident, but he's a dummy, and that's
yeah.
um I love it. He's absolutely my favorite character,
I
hands
like
down.
Ramsbottom. I like him. He's hilarious, and I love the mess that he gives Officer Messer too. It's pretty.
And Tony don't even know how to take it. Like, bro, like what is happening right now? Because he's a very dominant personality, and it just works.
Yeah, that's funny. What's your favorite Tony moment? Can you think of anything that like you think of that he's done that just cracks you up? You'll never forget.
Oh man, there's honestly there's so many, and I mean there's so many even from tonight that I'm gonna remember for a long time. So I'm absolutely gonna talk to him tomorrow about a couple slip ups on stream. Uh, So, uh, man, anytime he forgets to put on his seatbelt, I think,
Yeah,
that's even though it's happened repeatedly, it never gets old. So,
yeah. Have you ever thought about playing a crim that is in opposition to Tony?
so, so I have not ran into Tony, um, in the server yet. But I mean, my only real character is a gang leader, and I'm pretty like I'm all over the place. So eventually, me and Tony are going to run into each other in probably pretty high stakes situation. We'll see how it pans out.
That'd be good. That would be fun. That would be a fun
Absolutely.
interaction. Mother Fluffer asks, do you love milk though?
I do. I do. You know, at one point when I was a teenager, I probably legit. I'm not exaggerating. I drank like a gallon of milk a day.
Whew.
But I was playing sports 3 or 4 hours every day after school. I was working out at school, so and I was a pretty small guy, so I needed the calories, and I think I just like found it in milk. And I've never really gotten away from it. I don't drink a gallon of milk a day anymore, but I still drink milk a lot. So.
I love it. I love it. All right, here we go. Two. We talked about this. StarCat just opened up. It opens up the transition with you and Ryan. Just says it's going to open up more things for Denny to do, and I think you already identified that you're probably going to be busier now than you have been.
Yeah, I mean, we've considered it. It kind of gets so we're still learning kind of the rules about a nonprofit. Part of that is like you can't you can't donate or lobby. Um, but I mean, some of the things that we want to do, there's a couple states where, like right now in West Virginia, if him and Fiend were to go out on a call and Fiend were to get hurt and EMS responded, they cannot operate on Fiend. They would have to, I assume, get her to an emergency vet, which delays life-saving measures that could be happening in the meantime. And there's a couple states that have put legislation forth to make that not a thing. Like we would have to figure out how to go to, say, uh, a very experienced vet that would want to work with EMS personnel, and then figure out a way to say like, hey, we can make this program work where it doesn't really cost the government anything, and then we could go to legislation and be like, hey, we can make this work. It won't cost people much. Um, we want to see this transition, so we're looking at changing legislation if we can do stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff that we're looking into. Tony wants to write a book, which I'm absolutely going to start working on pretty soon. There's a ton of stuff going on.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Um, all right, Lady Assault. Why is
There
your
we
wife
go.
so amazing?
She is pretty amazing, and so I will give her some credit, just because she's tolerated so much stuff that most wives would not. Like, again, getting up in the morning, looking at my phone first, going through tickets, spending my entire day. I've taken off a week at a time, not spent time with her. 100%. Didn't spend any time with her at all. Sat in front of my PC all day working on TARP stuff. Stuff comes up, and at the end of the night, and 9, 10 o'clock, it's bedtime. She's like, "Hey, it's time. It's our time." And I'll get caught up in something, and be working till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Something crazy pops off. And there's been, being 100% honest, there's times where I've wanted to kind of like throw in the towel. Like the community sometimes can, not in the last really like 6 months, but before that, the community beat me up pretty bad several times, and without her saying like, "Hey, this is just a small bump. Stick with it." Uh, it's really hard to say what the community would look like without her support, and of course.
we're gonna get him back, chat. There he is.
So yeah, I mean, it's without her, you know, the community could look incredibly different. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, all right. I think we've already settled this. We'll get your opinion on it. Prime Gaming Canada asked, "Does pineapple belong on pizza?"
The official TARP stance. Now, it doesn't matter what you think. TARP believes, because listen, Tony doesn't eat pizza. I'm gonna let everybody in on a secret. Tony doesn't like pizza. He don't
Really?
like it, so he doesn't get a say.
Okay.
So that just leaves me.
Yeah.
Pineapple goes on pizza.
Thank you.
100%.
I mean, I don't even know how we keep having this conversation, but pineapple belongs on pizza, and it should be on everything, pizza related.
100%.
No, I agree.
Matter of fact, pineapple goes on all kinds of stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's not just, for whatever reason, it's a debate on pizza, but I throw it on steak, on
No, yeah.
several things. So
Yeah, no, pineapple. No, I agree. Um, thank you for confirming what we have already kind of identified and put our stamp on. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely.
All right, so I don't know if this is the same question or a clarification to a previous question. It's about milk again, and it's Mother Fluffer says, "How do you feel about drinking plain milk? Is that just a re question, or is it the same question?"
some people are like chocolate milk is a thing, but you can't like drink regular milk or whatever. Like, nah, like I I pour it out of the gallon into a cup and I drink it. And that's
Yeah.
I don't have to do nothing to it. And to be fair, it would be a whole milk if my metabolism would keep up with it. But instead, it is 2% milk or less.
Okay.
So
Are you a skim milk drinker though? Like, can you go that far?
I can if I'm like dieting real hard, and if you're like putting protein in it or whatever, you can't tell the difference anyway. So
Yeah. Okay. Skim milk is tough. It is. It
it
is
is.
tough.
It's like just weird water.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's basic. All right. Do you ever put ice in your milk? Are you a I mean, is that a thing for you? Does that exist in your world at all?
I don't have to because I keep my refrigerator a little bit too cold, and I get fussed at all about it all the time. So it's like right at almost ice, anyways.
Okay.
So
All right. Um. All right. MJB04074 says, "Did you like Top Gun 2, and why is it the best action movie of all time?"
I have not got to watch it yet. Me and Michaela struggle to get to the movies. We went and saw The Northman like right before Top Gun 2 came out, and
Okay.
that movie was really good. And we were like, "Hey, we got to get back out to see Top Gun," and we just haven't got a chance to go back out to the movies. We just, bunch of kids running around. We don't really have a support system where, I moved away from her family, moved her up here for this job. So we don't get to go out a ton, not for long periods of time. So
Yeah.
movies are kind of hard.
Okay. All right. Fast Traveler says, "Tell your favorite joke."
Let's see. I
And
don't really
there
know any.
was a there was another one a question I think I saw in the chat that said something about a your mama joke. I don't know if those two are connected to one or the other.
I don't have any jokes. Uh, I hate to say it, I don't really know
No
no
jokes
too many. No jokes that I would say
that
on
that
on
you can
stream.
share.
Yeah,
I got
I
you.
don't know any. I don't know any
I got
appropriate
you.
jokes.
You need to go into the Discord and look up Skittles
Oh yeah, I
and
love
just
that.
follow
Him
his
and
daily jokes. They're great.
yeah, I've got another friend that does like he posts dad jokes. I work with him.
Yeah.
We're super close. He's dad jokes every day.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I'm like, bro, I'll hit you. Like it's getting out of hand. So
Have you seen the two guys on TikTok? They sit by the lake and they drink coffee and they tell jokes and try not to laugh at each other.
I have not seen that, but that
I,
would be interesting to
I'll have to
watch.
send you a link. I'll send you a
Do
link
that.
of like one of theirs, and they're pretty funny. They're
Yeah,
pretty
that'd be
funny.
fun.
I like them. All right, here we go. Lady Assault said, "I begged him to take me to see the new Top Gun, but he won't."
Yeah, I wish we had time, but
All right, so Gank. I don't know if this is Ganker or what. He just says, I don't even know if this is a question or a statement. He says milk with steak. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with drinking milk with anything, to be honest.
milk with steak. So I think what it actually is, Mason, I guess, was like eating steak by hand the other day, like when he
Okay,
started the stream, and then
okay.
was drinking milk. And it's so I love milk, I love steak. I typically don't do them together. So I'm more of like Oreos and milk.
Yeah, yeah.
But steak and milk, sure. I mean, it's a lot of protein.
Okay, all right. So milk with pizza, though. Are you a milk and pizza guy?
If I were to have like some spicy stuff on my pizza, sure, I could probably. Again, not typically a combo um that I would go with, but I 100% could do that.
Let me just ask this, and I think this is, and this might be the last question. Do you feel like your passion for milk is as great as Evans's passion for the Crown Vic was?
I'm not giving up milk. Period. I'm not. I milk products. I'm There's no situation where I give up milk. Even if I know that if I were to like build up some kind of lactose intolerance or like lose my gallbladder or something like that, I am not giving up milk. Period. I will not do it no matter what.
Okay. All right. So you just be sick. Like you're just like, you know what? I'll take the sickness.
100%. I'm not giving it up. I've just lived off of it too long. Uh, I went through spells. To be honest, I've went through like little spells where I stayed away from it, and honestly, I do feel a little bit better. Uh, just because I think like I don't necessarily think milk is like the best thing in the world for you, but
Yeah.
it's good for your soul, and sometimes you got to do what's good for your soul, not
Yeah.
what's good for your body.
Yeah. There you go. I like that. I like that. Um, all right, man. Well, listen. Tell me. Let's kind of we'll kind of close out with this kind of question. And I asked this question, and really we kind of talk about it throughout the interview. But I want to just kind of open up the floor and let you let you share your heart, just kind of about where, anything that you might want to say TARP related, or where we're going, something that you feel you're like, hey, I really want the community to know this. Is there anything that's like
Sure.
on your heart that you're like, hey, I'd love to, I'd really like to share this, or I want you to remember this. Is there anything like that that you want to say, that you'd really want to share?
So I will say that um, the community kind of, you know, to speak to how you normally end your interviews. If you want to be a part of something uh, that provides unwavering support, if you want to contribute to a community that is going to grow and it's going to get better and find new ways of kind of like propping each other up, um, you know, come to the community, stay in the community, tell other people about it, bring other people in. As this kind of transition happens, uh, lend lend Ryan your support and trust. He 100% has it doesn't matter how prepared you are. There's so much learning that has to be done in the role that he's assuming. Um, you know, as leaders of the community, we have to have grace, and sometimes that grace does not come back up the other way.
Sure.
I know that the way that like I said earlier, I used to be a big Call of Duty player, and they've disappointed me the last couple years. Um, but one thing that I can only imagine with a game like that, with that kind of community, just like having to please that player base. I don't like normally a year ago I would have been like, screw Call of Duty. They have no idea what they're doing. Blah blah blah. I would have badmouthed them. But now it's just like, man, like I'm just not the player base that they are trying to please right now.
Right.
Um, and I learned that just through like the frustration of trying to please everybody. Just as we go through this transition, understand that the time and the effort that it takes and the care, the thought that he is willing and trying to put into the community, it deserves a little bit of grace to come from the bottom. Lend him your support, which I know the community will do. And in a year from now, I 100% believe that we're sitting at pretty much 1,500 members right now, which, 6 months ago, we probably didn't think that's where we would be at. I think another year from now, we're going to be sitting at 4 or 5,000 easy. I think it's going to be way higher than that. But,
Sure.
you know, just, just remember a ton of work from not just the director position, all the admins, 100%, you know, anybody that's watching, mods, uh, RP staff, anybody. There's so many working parts, department heads, department supervisors, down to the normal everyday players. The work that goes into this just cannot be quantified. Uh, and um, Thank you everybody that has been a part of that growth for the last year. And just understand that if you're a player, you know grace needs to go down, needs to come up. Just be patient as we continue to grow, and that's pretty much it.
That's awesome, man. I I had I had a young leader in my office. It's maybe about a year or so ago, and we were talking. Something was going on, and we were having a discussion, and I just had this thought, and I wrote it on my board that's behind my desk, and I think it applies very well to this. Uh, and I just wrote this statement. I said, "Things that are led well are left well," and I think that applies for you, and the fact that you have led
Thank you.
us well up to this point, and you are leaving things in well and in good hands. And so I am one person, I think, that I can speak for a lot of people. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your leadership and your effort in getting us to this point. And I'm excited about where we'll go from beyond here, sir.
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, hey, I've got all the love and respect for you and Lady A, and man, I'm excited about where we're going, and hopefully one day. I always like to say I hope to see you in the city, but with your character, I don't know that I really want to run into you in the city. So maybe I'll just like, what'd you say?
I'm cordial, unless
You're,
unless you get wild.
I got
Then
you. I got you. All right. So hopefully I will. I'll run into you in your cordial state and at some point, some way.
awesome,
Hey, hope you have a great one, man. Thank you so much for jumping in here, bro.
awesome. Thank you for man. Thank you for what you do for the community. This is another unique thing that we offer. And man, I always watch these interviews, so appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night, buddy.
You too.
Thank you, sir.